I want to read you just a few things from the Hua Hu Ching, and this is all about meaning. Dissolving the mind is a matter of not doing. Simply avoid becoming attached to what you see and think. Now, this is one of the most important lines in the Hua Hu Ching. Relinquish the notion that you are separated from the all-knowing mind of the universe. Relinquish the notion that you are separated from the all-knowing mind of the universe, which is what I spoke about with the ego. You've got to relinquish that idea. The all-knowing mind of the universe, God, is not only something that you are connected to, it is something that you are. Carry that inner vision around. The idea that you could somehow be separated from God is a complete and total illusion. Then you can recover your original pure insight and see through all illusions. Remember, because clarity and enlightenment are within your own nature, they are regained without moving an inch. This is really powerful. I always go back to remind myself of that. Because clarity and enlightenment are within your own nature, they are regained without moving an inch. Now here's the big kicker from the Hua Hu Ching. If you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. That is, all of your addictions, all of your overweightedness, all of your poisons, all of your pain, if you correct your mind, everything else will fall into place. The 23 pounds that I took off in 29 days, I attribute to not eating sugar, and I wanted to talk about that here when we talked about returning to your original nature. I think it's because I corrected my mind. See, if you correct your mind, that's when you know when you're over an addiction. One of my favorite people that I've come to know is President Reagan's daughter, Patty Davis. You knew it wasn't the others, didn't you? Those of you know about it. I mean, she's the scurvy elephant. And she was a cocaine addict, severe. And she wrote an essay in Newsweek magazine about how she quit cocaine. And she said she tried everything. She tried not disappointing herself. She tried not disappointing her father, who was the president of the United States. She tried not disappointing her mother, but her mother was always disappointed in her, she said. And then she said, I finally got to a place in my life, and that was the conclusion of it. And I took this out and I sent it to my daughter, who has struggled with drugs, and she read it to everybody in the unit that she was staying in at the time. She said, I finally decided that I no longer wanted to disappoint God. Now remember, I'm not talking about God in a religious context here, in the sense of this is a specific religion that has been handed to you. She might just as well have said, I no longer wanted to disappoint the highest place that I am, my highest self. I didn't want to stay misaligned any longer. And by realigning herself with her God nature and realizing that you can never be separate from God, from your source, from your divinity, and relinquishing that idea of your separation from it, by doing that, you correct your mind. And as you correct your mind, that's like when we were talking about the sugar thing, if you correct your mind about that, this is going to be really easy. And as you do that, it's not like I'm tempted, but I'm not going to. It's like the temptation is gone because you're home. You're back home. You're in the place of well-being. Make me an instrument, if you want to pray, of thy well-being. And of thy well-being. That from which I originated. Okay. So, more important than that, if you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place. This is true because the mind is the governing aspect of a human life. If the river flows clearly and cleanly through the proper channel, all will be well along its banks. The integral way the way of meaning, depends on decreasing, not increasing. To correct your mind, rely on not doing. Stop thinking and clinging to complications. Keep your mind detached and whole. Eliminate mental muddiness and obscurity. Keep your mind crystal clear. Avoid daydreaming and allow your pure, original insight to emerge. Quiet your emotions and abide in serenity.